Hey guys, we're with the director and cast of the wonderful musical by Lin Manuel Miranda, In the Heights. In 2005, this play debuted on Broadway and won a bunch of Tony Awards, one of them being Best Musical. And the musical was also nominated for a Pulitzer Prize as well as winning a Grammy for Best Show Album. Let's go with Professor Mangels first, the director of the play. Professor, I love the cast of this play and the story. First, tell us a little bit about this particular musical for those that may not be familiar with Lin Manuel Miranda, his work, and then casting it.
It was, he wrote it when he was in college, actually, at Wesleyan University, and it was seen by some muck-a-muck producers who said, we think this show could eventually move on to professional life, and he worked on it. I think he wrote it in about 2001, and he eventually developed it until it went to off-Broadway, around off-Broadway for a little while, and then eventually moved to Broadway. And by the time it got to Broadway, the only line remaining from the original production was just when they sing "In Washington Heights." That's it.
That's
so
it.
The whole show had been sort of reconceived, and developed over time. But and they had brought in a Pulitzer Prize-winning playwright to write the book for it. Originally, he had written everything in it. So it saw a lot of evolution, but it's still very much, I think, this young person's view of life, which I think is really, really what makes it so fresh. And he wrote it so he would have a role, because he was, Puerto Rican descent. He's first generation American, and wanted to sort of address that, I think, and address growing up in Washington Heights, which he had done, and which is a far north neighborhood in Manhattan, in sort of the barrio. And he wanted to talk about things like a community and what it means to be American when your family's not born in America, and to address sort of the Latino experience, and to address community and diversity and everything else. And the big sort of groundbreaking thing he did was used salsa and hip hop as part of the musical story form, which has become a lot more popular now. Hamilton especially. I mean, he's doing it in Hamilton in a more sophisticated form. I found Hamilton first about a year ago and started listening to Hamilton really, aggressively, and then was working on a musical theater workshop with a student who is my Nina, Rebecca Robles.
Yeah.
And we were working on the song from the show that she sings in the show. And I said to her, hey, are you going to be around in the spring? And she said, yeah. Why? And I said, well, I was going to direct this other show, but I think I'm not going to direct it because I think it's the wrong show for us. But I'm thinking about doing it in the Heights. And I want to know if you would be around to do the show. And she said, holy crap, yeah. So. Yeah. And she knew that she wasn't pre-cast or anything. I didn't pre-cast anybody, but I always really aggressively recruit when I do a show. I kind of go out, and my goal is to have too many options at auditions.
Sure.
So, I reached out into the community locally. I went to Fresno and talked to a bunch of people there, and our Usnavi, Dominic Grijalva, had directed this show, and Selma had directed the Central Valley premiere of it 2 years ago. And or a year and a half ago, in 2015. And he was had the national tour set and everything. I mean, it was a big deal. And it was his first show he ever directed. So I reached out to him and I said, if I directed this show, would you be interested in auditioning for it? And his heart stopped and said, oh my God, yeah, I want to be in it. I don't just want to, Right. So he reached out to a lot of his cast, who a few of them auditioned for us, and a few of them are in our cast.
Right.
Not in the same roles though. No one is doing a role they've done before.
Gotcha.
But, and then, I really reached out to the COS community, and we had probably about 70 people audition, and we cast 33 of them. And, I think about a third of the cast are community members.
Right.
And then about 2/3 of them are current COS students. Right. And yeah, it wound up being, it's like an incredible, we had a great turnout. I was concerned that we wouldn't get a lot of auditions because the show is notoriously Latino,
Right.
And I said, I'm going to make every effort I can to cast the show ethnically correct, but I don't think that means the community has to be only Latino, and I think that was, we got a really diverse cast then.
Right, yeah. And some of your castmates or cast members are here now. I saw it this past weekend, and I really loved what you guys did. Amazing job, and that's why we're here now, because I'm like, other people need to see it. I think it's just beautiful music, and I think the message is also appropriate for our times. So just going down with the cast here, what do you guys think about the roles you're playing, and how does this particular story speak to you guys?
Us as the ensemble, we're the community, so we're not only supporting the leads, we're trying to give the feeling of community by being the community. So we kind of have a tough job because we have to bring a lot of energy to it, but also show the importance that we're not just ensemble, we're the community, and the community's family. So we're their family. We're what the barrio is. We're important.
Right. Now you have a very interesting role, right?
Yes, I am.
Say your name, your real name?
My name is Albert Sanchez, and I play the Parago guy.
Right. So his particular role to me is you explain it.
Well, for me, I've always imagined Parago guy to be a bridge. Like Karen here has said that the ensemble is the community, and really Parago guy, I feel like he is also sort of a bridge between. He's more of a hybrid character. He's both either ensemble and a lead. So I really enjoyed the part where I could get to be both at the same time.
Right. And the guy brings basically refreshment to the neighborhood, and I feel like your role also gives the audience a sense of that.
Yeah.
You kind of give us a break.
Yeah, Chris wonderfully explained it to me every so often. Parago guy is basically the spirit of In the Heights. He's the spirit of acceptance of a community, and basically that role it feels generally good to me in my heart. So,
right.
Yeah, he's the spirit of the islands. He's the most recent immigrant that's on stage. He's he's the guy who's working so hard to make it and to just give of himself. And Piragua is a Puerto Rican snow cone, basically. So he's a snow cone salesman, and he's selling his native wares and bringing that sort of energy. That the little guy. He's the little guy.
Right, and it's fighting the heat. I think like the heat is kind of an element that is really part of the oppression.
Yeah. That
is a theme in the musical. This idea that families are struggling, their business is going down. She's failed. We won't tell the whole thing here, but it's the heat becomes part of that oppression of this particular group of people, this neighborhood. Let's go to Dominic here down the line, because you're one of the very important characters in this musical. I grew up in New Jersey, so I knew punk kids like you. And, we had him. So tell me a little bit about your journey into getting into that character.
Well, Sonny is a very different character than how I grew up. I grew up very quiet and reserved, and Sonny is very outgoing. He's not afraid to come into a conversation and shift it and flip it on its head because that's what he wants. So going into Sonny, it took me back to that like adolescent child type of mentality, but it fueled me as an actor to like strive to bring Sonny out more, because something that Chris tells us in acting class and on stage when he's directing, he tells us that the character's only limited by how much you are willing to do. And by taking that into account, I feel like Sonny always wants the barrio to be better. And with his youthful drive and his naivety to kind of the social normal of waiting for a conversation, he kind of pulls the audience in with him to where everything is about, let's let's make this better, and he doesn't really have people to get in his way. And being youthful, also one of his challenges is that nobody takes him seriously.
Right.
So when he has a point, it's kind of pushed off.
Right. I think one of the challenges probably in this musical is that it is hip hop, and I know you've got some parts where you're spitting a lot of verse. So so not only are you giving out your lines, but you got to make sure it's in time. So how is that as a challenge? Because it is a hip hop musical. One of the reasons I love it is because of that.
You're basically telling a story inside of it. With the rap, specifically the 96,000 rap, it's his dream, and using his dream in there, it's his best way to express himself to the audience. So using that rap, I found it a lot easier because once I understood that rap, I understood Sonny's character a lot better.
Right.
And after I understood all that, Sonny basically just came out voluntarily.
Sure, absolutely. So the rhythm of it kind of, in a way, what is it? Possessed you, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
in not so many words. Yes.
Now the dancing is obviously very important. It's musical theater. For some of you guys out here that I haven't asked questions to, how was that like in terms of learning? The dancing. Some of it's very contemporary, obviously, because it's a hip hop musical and stuff. Was that a lot of fun for you guys?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
dancing.
it definitely was.
I'm a truly unexperienced dancer. It's probably
Yeah.
one of my greatest insecurities, but this show has just helped so much with that, and it's honestly been amazing.
Yeah.
I think for me, especially because this is my first show ever, it's learned me. It's helped me learn as an actor, and as a dancer and a singer to just express yourself. You're on stage, and when you're on there, you do have your audience, but you have to remember that it's you're coming out here to show your feelings and your expressions. And I think through song and through dance and through act, that's the best form of art that you can express yourself. It's so beautiful, and it's so wonderful to be on the stage, and especially to be part of this amazing cast. It's been an honor.
Yeah, I feel like hip hop right now too is at a peak, and so it relates to a lot of like younger generations, and that's kind of what is happening right now. That's what's big right now is hip hop dance, hip hop music, rap music. So I think it relates to a lot of younger generations, but also older generations, because there is some old school salsa, there is some old school hip hop, there's some he
There's
kind of
lots.
references some old school hip hop too
Yeah.
in some of the lyrics. So
Yeah.
I think it kind of just appeals to a wide range of people.
So you've got 4 more shows, right? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Right.
And Sunday's a matinee one.
Yeah, 7:30 on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 2 o'clock on Sunday.
Awesome. Well, highly recommended. You need to check these guys out. Yeah, it's a pretty amazing musical. Come at them, COS Theater. You got 4 more days to check them out. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.